From the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C.
Today I have the honor and privilege of introducing Giannina Braschi, a poet, essayist, and novelist often described as cutting edge, influential, and even revolutionary. If you visit Giannina Braschi's website, you'll see on the home page the words art, culture, philosophy, and politics under her name. Directly under her name, much like an occupational title is listed under your name in a business card. So it's what she does, art, culture, philosophy, and politics. And indeed, you find elements of art, culture, philosophy, and politics in all of her literary works, which include the postmodern poetry classic Empire of Dreams and the novel Yo-Yo Boing, credited with being the first novel to be written in Spanglish. Her latest novel, United States of Banana, has been described as experimental, revolutionary, and profoundly philosophical. It is to be read as the wasteland of the 21st century. Set amid the destruction and carnage of immediate post-9/11 New York City, the book opens with the lines, "It's the end of the world. I was excited by the whole situation." In part two of the book, the author accompanies Hamlet and Zarathustra on a quest to free Sigismundo, the principal character of a 17th century play who's been forcibly incarcerated within the confines of the Statue of Liberty. Then it gets weird. As with some of the author's other works, she explores the social and political journey of Hispanic Americans living in the United States within the novel. Born in San Juan, Puerto Rico, as a younger person, Giannina was a singer, a fashion model, and she was crowned the youngest female tennis champion in Puerto Rico's history before she discovered writing. She's won awards and honors too numerous to mention here, but you can check out the full list on her profile in Wikipedia when you have about 20 minutes or so. On behalf of the Library of Congress, please join me in welcoming to the stage Giannina Braschi.
So I want to talk to you about my voyage as an immigrant to the United States of America. I came here when I was 23 years old to study a PhD in Spanish literature. I taught at Rutgers University. I taught poetry. Then I dedicated my life to writing my poetry. I started writing in Spanish, El Imperio de los Sueños, Empire of Dreams, all written in Spanish. But when you read it, you see that it's all about New York City. So it's written in Spanish, but it's an American book. So this was my first book, all written in Spanish, and there are 6 books of poetry inside it. Then I wrote a bilingual novel, Yo-Yo Boing, and I was marking, and my interest was to follow the process of the immigrant in the United States through the languages, Spanish, Spanglish, and English. When I wrote United States of Banana, it's because I was already controlling the English language. But then my Spanish language was in remission inside myself. So my background was in silence. And I had to take that background of myself, my whole being, into the top again. And that's what the book is about. From silence to voice, from beginning to end, from silence to voice, to bring my Spanish culture back to the top of the Statue of Liberty, because we were in the dungeon of the Statue of Liberty. And I rise my whole culture to the top. Anyway, so I start writing in English in the United States of Banana, and these are some fragments that I write in English. I'm writing in my foreign language, not in my native language. I'm writing in the language that makes me grow into awesome thoughts. I encounter in my foreign language a culture that doesn't understand my native language, a culture that thinks I write from my stomach, not from my brain, because if I wrote from my brain, I would not be a piggy bank. I would be a boss, a mandatory of guinea pigs, an office control freak, and I would not have to sweat like a pig. I would just plop myself in a big leather chair and drink coffee and speak through both sides of my mouth, but never mean what I say, never express awkward feelings. Feelings and smoking are strictly prohibited, but ass kissing is highly recommended. Just say fabulous, extraordinary, sweet. Never admit doubt, never say it's unlikely. Yes, sir, you'll have it on your desk, first thing in the morning, even if I have to wipe my ass with a paper towel for dinner. I don't mean to offend you, but good for me if you're offended. You show me your flag of pride, your pledge of allegiance to freedom of speech. But where is my freedom of speech if I can offend you? Because you will recite the declaration of facts and notes of my impracticality, my insensitivity, my avoidance of the issue to create waves, to imply that as a foreigner, I don't understand, because I don't laugh at the jokes of the chattering mousetrap, of the smiling Daphne villain. The problem with foreign-speaking English, apart from it being flawed, is that it doesn't play by the same rules. It has its own passport. It could barbarize, it could terrorize, it could plant a bomb in the Oval Office, destroy national treasures, piss and cheat on the roots of the White House lawn. Minorities will become majorities if we don't patrol the borders. Howdy, amiga, bienvenida. Go back wherever the hell you came from. Shut the fuck up. Don't scream. Don't give excuses if you didn't do what you had to do. Don't tell me why you didn't do it. It is my desire to express my native self with my foreign tongue and to make my foreign tongue part of my native self. The fact is that speaking my foreign language, I have become more distant. I hardly remember the tongue I first spoke. And as I grow and mutate in this language day after day, I observe that some days I regress to the memory of the day I was born, but my cradle is empty. I have always looked for what is foreign to my nativity. I don't want to understand what I already know. I want to feel confused, be bewildered, sense awe, make the comfortable uncomfortable. I want to misplace myself. When I am misplaced, I am noticed as a misplacement. And I like to be figured out as somebody who you have to keep misplacing and changing the view you had, because the foreigner is invading the native. The native is becoming foreign. And in a country where foreigners become natives and native foreigners, languages must be demolished and rebuilt, not on a geographical continent with a boundary called flag, but in the infinite space of a nutshell. So this is a testimony of writing in a foreign language from a native speaker. Now, my first experience with this foreign language, collective experience, was when the towers fell. Then I experienced the disintegration of the subject into body parts. But at the same time, what I experienced there was the mourning of an immigrant, where you don't know anybody in particular, but you mourn in this general way because you feel the mourning of the people. And I saw a torso falling, no legs, no head, just a torso. I am redundant because I can't believe what I saw. I saw a torso falling, no legs, no head, just a torso tumbling in the air, dressed in a bright white shirt, the shirt of the businessman, tucked in neatly under the belt, snugly fastened, holding up his pants that had no legs. He had hit a steel girder, and he was dead, dead for a ducat, dead, on the floor of Krispy Kreme, with powdered donuts for a head, fresh, out of the oven, crispy and round, hot and tasty. And this businessman on the ground was clutching a briefcase in his hand, and on his finger, the wedding band. I suppose he thought his briefcase was his life or his wife, or that both were one, because the briefcase was as tight in hand as the wedding band. I saw the wife of the businessman enter the shop of Stanley the cobbler with a pink ticket in hand. The wife had come to claim the shoes of the businessman. After all, they had found the feet, and she wanted to bury the feet with the shoes. There I was, talking to Stanley the cobbler, because I too had left my shoes, a pink pair of pink boots, in Stanley Cobbler's shop. He told me, "You won't believe what I saw. I saw Charlie, the owner of St. Charlie's Bar and Grill, watching the burial of the 20th century. Charlie goes out to hang the sign, closed for business. He looks up, and jet fuel burns and melts him down. And do you know how? How the torso hit the ground, how it landed? What I saw hitting the ground was a little bubble of blood, a splash that hardly felt itself, soundless, and dissolving into the cement, and melting without a sound. I saw a passenger hanging on the edge of a bridge, with his feet in the air, his legs kicking and both hands holding into a steel girder hanging loose from the bridge, about to collapse, with the passenger kicking his legs as if he could pedal his way to the other side, where there is sand, sand and water, deep water, as if he could swim to the shore and survive. The sand and the air of the camel is back, the air of the difficult. Now we have to climb sand dunes of brick and mortar. The streets are not flat, but full of barricades, tunnels, and caves. And you have to walk through the maze, and sometimes you'll get lost inside, finding no end and no exit. And you'll fall into despair, but you'll see a dim beacon of light appearing and disappearing. And when it fades away, your hope will fade, and you'll be amazed because your pace will change. I used to be Dandy Rabbit, and now I am Tortuga China. Not that I have lost my way, only my pace, because of the dead body I carry on my back, on the hump of the camel, in the desert storm, with no oasis in sight, but the smiling light of the promised land. I saw the hand of man holding the hand of woman. They were running to escape the inferno, and just when the man thought he had saved the woman, a chunk of ceiling fell, and what he had in his hand was just her hand, dismembered from her body. Now we no longer have the Renaissance concept of the creation of man, those two hands reaching out to each other on the Sistine Chapel, the hand of God and the hand of man, the fingers almost touching in unity of body and soul. What we have here is a war, the war of matter and spirit. In the classical era, spirit was in harmony with matter. Matter used to condense spirit. What was unseen, the ghost of Hamlet's father, was seen in the conscience of the king. The spirit was trapped in the matter of theater. The theater made the unseen seen. In the Romantic era, spirit overwhelmed matter. The glass of champagne can contain the bubbles, but never in the history of humanity has spirit been at war with matter. And that is what we have today, the war of banks and religion. It's what I wrote in Prayers of the Dawn, that in New York City, banks overtower cathedrals. Banks are the temples of America. This is a holy war. Our economy is our religion. When I came back to Midtown a week after the attack, I mourned, but not in a personal way. It was a cosmic mourning, something that I could not specify because I didn't know any of the dead. I felt grief without knowing its origin. Maybe it was the grief of being an immigrant and of not having roots, not being able to participate in the whole affair as a family member, but as a foreigner, as a stranger. Estranged in myself and confused, I saw the windows of Berdos and Saks. What a theater of the unexpected. My mother would have cried. There were only black curtains, black drapes, showing the morning of the stores. No mannequins, just veils, black veils. When the mannequins appeared again weeks later, none of them had blonde hair. I don't know if it was because of the morning rituals or whether the mannequins were afraid to be blonde targets of terrorists. Even they didn't want to look American. They were out of fashion after the Twin Towers fell, to the point that I even thought that even though I had just dyed my hair blonde because I was writing Hamlet and Hamlet is blonde, I went back to my coiffure immediately and told him, dye my hair black. It was a matter of life and death. Why look like an American when naturally I look like an Arab and walk like an Egyptian? Well, I was living on 50th Street in Midtown and moved downtown 2 blocks south of the World Trade Center 6 months before the attack so that I could study up close from the shore of Battery Park the Statue of Liberty, because my character, Segismundo, was going to be in the dungeon of the Statue of Liberty, trapped in the dungeon of the Statue of Liberty. I had finished my book, my Jojo Boing, the bilingual book, with Hamlet and Zarathustra going to the Statue of Liberty with 2 dead bodies on their back, because it amazes me that Hamlet carries the body of Polonius, a dead body in his back, and that Zarathustra carries a dead body in his back. And I said, these 2 dead bodies are like never buried. They are there like unresolved issues. And I said to myself, you know, I also have my own resolved issue. I'm going to bury the 20th century. I don't know if I was cursing myself when I said that, because it was the end of the 20th century, but the Twin Towers hadn't fallen yet. So I moved from Midtown, downtown, 2 blocks south of the World Trade Center, because I wanted to see the Statue of Liberty, to study, to see where my prisoner of war was going to be trapped in the Statue of Liberty, to hear his singing, to hear him singing his complaints or his laments about his sufferings, about life. So I was there, and I was looking at the Statue of Liberty, and all of a sudden, the Twin Towers fall. So I am taken in a boat to the Statue of Liberty, and for the first time, I hear the voice of Segismundo in the Statue of Liberty. I was thinking, yes, he's on the verge of breaking out of the dungeon and all his chains, but I was also thinking he should not be able to break out. Let's keep him inside to prove that liberty exists. A statue is just a statue, but to hear a man inside that statue claiming he wants to become free and never becoming free, we should charge to see him, but never free him. This man inside the Statue of Liberty is all of us. We're trapped inside the economy. We think the economy is more important than ourselves, but we're much more important than the economy. The economy is petite, little, and it can die. And little by little, it will die, the economy. But we will be alive, and our creativity will be alive, and we will carry our creativity to greater heights than the one we have achieved already. We will be greater because our creativity will be greater, because we will not bankrupt our creativity. The problem is that the economy is bankrupting our creativity. The problem is that you think my brain is a piggy bank. The only thing you do, I say in one fragment, you think my brain is a piggy bank. The only thing you do is throw some coins inside the piggy bank of my brain. I hear the coins drop, 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 but there is no water. They drown the stage in tears, even for an eggshell. My brain is a piggy bank. Drop your coins and feel happy, because you're contributing to my economy, fundraiser. You're raising funds to kill my soul every day a little more. And I'm talking about the soul of America. This economy is killing the soul of America. And when I tell you how I feel, because all I have left are my feelings, you say, and I'm talking about the feelings of people, all we have left are our feelings. The economy says to us, good for you, you still have feelings. How fortunate you are to be capable of feeling. But the question is, what am I feeling? What are all of us feeling inside? I'm feeling cold, hard cash, falling flat, like damp weather, like something cold when I crave something hot. It is always a disappointment to expect sun or vegetation and receive damp coins dropping cent by cent through the ceiling as if they were drops of water, but there is no irrigation, only swarms of cockroaches, patches of mold, and holes being filled with senseless scents. It's like this. You're in your house expecting a furniture delivery or a TV set, and a penny falls on your head. And the economy says, use it as you please. And I say, what will it get me? It can buy me loaf or beef deposited in the bank. In whose name? Mine, of course. You don't have a name because you don't have a capital. You're living here by the grace of those coins that I deposit in your head every day. I don't need your pocket change, I need ideas. Ideas come with change. Ingratiate yourself with reality. You're in debt. You owe me your life. I'm making you rich. You don't know how lucky you are. I wish I knew. I can hardly breathe but copper and nickel. And every day I eat the same chocolate coins at Starbucks, Kinko's, Staples. This is Chinese torture. I didn't bore a hole in your head. It was already there when I dropped the first red cent. But now it's really becoming a big hole, so big that the Twin Towers fell in it and I hardly felt it, because I was so accustomed to the dropping of coins that what difference does it make to have coins or towers or torsos or pages of daily news or tremors or rain? Be grateful. Gratitude is your business, fundraiser. What am I supposed to do with 1 cent, 20 cents, 50 cents at the end of the day? I can hardly pay for my coffee cake. And by the logic of the absurd, you insist and actually believe that you're making me rich, because you keep shaking my piggy bank and counting the same coins over and over again. And besides, there were foreign coins in there that counted for nothing, like us foreigners. We counted for nothing. They were immigrants like me. I emigrated with another speech, with another currency to this country where so many piggies are so happy being piggies that all they really want is to become cash machines, turning coins into dollars. And when you mention the almighty dollars, oh my God, they squeal with excitement. Dollars, dollars, mine, mine, mine. But dollars, in my opinions, are too mute. I don't hear them singing and dancing like jingle bells, and sound to me is very important, because when coins drop, I hear them dropping. But dollars are too bland, made of paper, washed out green, the color of envy. The Statue of Liberty once said to me, immigrants talk to me about their feelings. They feel like piggy banks. But if you feel your brain is a piggy bank, for God's sake, in God we trust. Work harder until you become a cash machine. Your salary will increase, and so will your social statue when you print a business card that states your name and your new title, from assistant piggy bank to associate cash machine. Progress in this society has to do with the profession of money, going from one profession to the other. Merit resides in your ability to count rapid sums of money. Roll your eyes, blank at the buscones who are buscando money. Roll your eyes, emotionless, pitiless, no ear to them, deaf, and above all, heartless. You will not be moved by the heart, nor by graces, nor by looks. You will be moved by cash, cold hard cash. In money we trust. God is money. And there is a higher standard of living and there is a higher standard of expectation, but sometimes the higher standard of expectation is never achieved with this higher standard of living. And sometimes we walk with our stomach full and our brains empty. And we walk like chickens with their heads cut off. Yes, we are chickens with the heads cut off, all of us, walking to the Statue of Liberty like chickens with the head cut off. Originality is going back to the place where you were what you were and finding an empty chair. Would you gladly sit on it? No, thank you. It is empty for a reason. That's where my ass was, not where my head is now. And this is how we walk. Hooray, hooray, what a great chicken. The president, the secretary of state, the businessman, the preacher, the vendor, the spies, the clients and managers, all walking around Wall Street like chickens with their heads cut off, rushing to escape bankruptcy, plotting to melt down the Statue of Liberty, to press more copper pennies, to breed more headless chickens, to put more feathers in their caps, medals, diplomas, stock certificates, honorary doctorates, eggs and eggs of headless chickens, multitaskers, system hackers who never know where they are heading, northward, backward, eastward, forward, and never homeward. Where is home? Home is in the head, but the head is cut off. The head is cut off because we're jumping verbs, you know? We cut the subject out of the sentence. We said, it is not important, the subject matter. The subject matter is not important. What is important is the plot. So we plot all these things, but we forgot that we're thinking people that have a head. So home is in the head, but the head is cut off. And the nest is full of banking form and Easter eggs with coins inside. Beheaded chickens. How do you breed chickens with their heads cut off? This is important. How do you breed them? Because we're in this society, we have to breed them. By teaching them how to bankrupt creativity, by spending their energy declining verbs. I do, you do, we do, they do, he does, she does, it does. Everything is in the doing. What can I do for you? What can you do for me? Everything is in the verb, this jumping verb, these actions, 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 and where is the thinking? Scratch my back and I'll scratch yours. I can pilot a jet, I can order a salad, I can rollerblade, I can write a play, I can fall in love, and I can do what the subject matter could never do, decline verbs and subjugate subject matters to become attributes, compliments, feathers in the cap of a chicken that walks like a chicken with his head cut off. Ask me if I can, but never ask me who I am, because that can only be answered by a being. A doer cannot be. A doer can only do. I am what I do. And if you ask me, who are you? I'll blink my teary eyes and feel pity for my lack of being. And I'll threaten to kill myself, but I'll have no self to kill. I'm caught between two psychosomatic dilemmas, the one that wants to sleep at night in your fat, lazy arms of comfort, and the one that cheats on your fat, lazy ass. Serves you right, old fart, for making me do what I don't like to do just to support you. Life is short, but it feels so long. Serves you right that if I die, you get nothing because you've spent it all. You didn't earn the respectability or the visibility or the bread and butter. Serves you right to get nothing. You earn it. I made it. You blew it. My wallet is empty, like my life, misspent by my wife. And when I lost my head, I lost my statehood, where I could learn to decline other verbs. What was, what is not, what does, without knowing what was, is not anymore what is, and what I do has nothing to do with what I am. I was commanded by a subject matter that mattered, but now I'm repeating ad nauseum the same conjugation because I killed the subject matter that matters. I read, I scream, I weep. I do, I jump, I kiss. I play, I pray, I fall. I am, I am, I am. What I do when I do what I have to do. My being doesn't exist, but when I do, I bring my being into a state of forensic frenzy, and I do what I have to do always. I always fulfill my deadline because they are the lines of death, and I can never skip what was meant to die by a deadline, and that is my goal, to die when I get to the deadline. So this is the part of ground zero in my book. What? We're late? Okay, so we can come to the questions and answers. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, I didn't really understand what you mean about creativity and the economy, how the economy is eating away your creativity. Can you explain that?
Because I said there's a war between matter and spirit. I said what we have here is a war between matter and spirit. We are killing the spirit every day more by giving so much importance to the material world. We have been killing the spirit every day more by giving so much importance to the material world. Culture is as important as politics. Politics is sterile without culture. We're not giving sufficient importance to culture. That's part of the spirit. Part of poets, philosophers, lovers. The powers of the world are shifting. I say, poets, philosophers, lovers, the powers of the world are shifting. Culture is becoming more important than politics because we have realized that politics is taking us nowhere. So we have to start thinking again, finding welfare in ourselves. Creativity has to rise again.
Okay, thank you.
Hello? I loved your quote. How do you breed chickens with their heads cut off? I have a question in return. Why would you want to breed chickens with their heads cut off?
I don't. I want them with their heads. But I have seen that we're breeding chickens with their heads cut off.
I kind of wonder whether or not on Wall Street, the investment bankers running around have their heads cut off.
Yes, they have.
Perhaps we don't want them to breed at all.
Yes, you're right. Somebody else? Well, my last words, and I want to say, oh, you want to, yes.
Do you have any of your poems or prose in Spanish?
Yes. You want me to say something in Spanish?
Perhaps for something short?
Yes, I'm going to give a blessing to the United States, but I'm going to give a blessing to the two Americas because this is what I want. I want the two Americas to unite in a better way. I want Hamlet and Segismundo to unite. I want, si Segismundo siente pesar, Hamlet se inquieta, which means if Segismundo grieves, Hamlet feels it. Do you imagine if this world, with the unity of our two Americas, do you think somebody would beat us up in the world? Nobody could be better than us. This is a renaissance. I'm proclaiming here. I'm asking you to unite with me in this new renaissance of the two Americas. That's what I want. And for that, I'm going to sing a poem in Spanish and finish with this poem. Amo los hipos y amo los estornudos y amo los pestañeos y amo los eructos y amo a los glotones. Amo los pelos, amo a los osos. Para mí lo redondo, para mí el mundo. Redonda es la cara feliz y redondo es el mediodía. Y cuando más bonita está la luna es cuando está redonda. El sexo es redondo y el corazón también. La mano es redonda, la boca también. Los estornudos son redondos y también los hipos. También la leche del seno de Lady Macbeth era redonda. Me hubiera gustado ser ella y ser mala. Soy buena, soy Baco, soy sexo y soy hipo, y soy estornudo y soy tos. Ronca, ronca, ronca. Soy trueno, soy voz, soy obscena, obscena, obscena. Soy pura como la teta o la leche. Soy agua, mar o pez o renacuajo. Soy redonda. Thank you. Gracias, amiga, gracias, 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 gracias.
This has been a presentation of the Library of Congress. Visit us at loc.gov.